motherfucker.
Let's play a game.
Got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I shot my wife in the stomach with 38.
Why did you do this?
She enticed me and she ridiculed me throughout my lifetime. I'll see if she's alive. She's alive? Yeah. I think she's dead.
Sensational.
And here we go. Here we go again. It is a sensational day here in the glorious Great British Isles. I'm not referencing the Great British Broadcasting Corporation today. I have got hold of a transcript of what Senor Presidente Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin actually said on the 14th of June, 2 days ago, at the Russian Foreign Ministry alongside Senor Lavrov, his foreign minister. And I've seen quite a few YouTube videos on this, and everything that they've focused on has been on the Ukrainian aspect. And if people would like to hear about that, I might do a part 2. So I'm calling this part 1, but there might never be a part 2. Just let me know, is my audio coming through all right, or am I a bit loud or not loud enough, or what? That'd be useful to know. In essence, the bit that I'm going to focus on is the first few pages of his speech. When I say pages, it's all I've done is transferred it into Word. Thank you, Odin. I've transferred it into a Word document because I was able to get hold of it via one mechanism where I had to search for it and go and get it, but I wasn't able to do it on my computer. My glorious British government prevents me from accessing this information. And that's part of the problem. If when you're in a conflict with somebody, you do not know your enemy and you do not listen to your enemy, you do not try to work out what your enemy is like, I use enemy loosely, your opponent, if you don't know anything about your opponent, how are you supposed to try to beat them? You'll just be doing what you do. And so the question really is, if we're being hidden away from everything that the opponent says, are we merely just being driven by propaganda? Is that what this is about? It's all about propaganda and making sure that everybody's on board and they're not allowed to listen to this. So this I found really interesting. I'll go with that one. I can go down in the bottom, and then you can see what's here. So this aspect is talking about where is Russia going? Where is Russia trying to head? What is Russia's strategic direction? What are they trying to achieve? And this document, this speech is absolutely fascinating because this is about the direction that Vladimir Putin is telling his foreign ministry exactly what he wants, what Russia wants. So this was a meeting with the foreign ministry senior officials. On screen is a picture of Vladimir Putin in the center, and to the side is Sergei Lavrov. It was in Moscow on June the 14th, 2024. It started off with the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. I've highlighted a few things. He basically just gives an introduction to give Vladimir Putin the floor. I found this an interesting statement. We are always committed to the closest cooperation and coordination when pursuing the unified foreign policy course set by the president and outlined in the foreign policy concept. That also suggests that there is an option for the foreign ministry to not work closely, not coordinate, and not be cooperative, which is also something I have heard is actually the case. This is not a country that is merely one person is ruling the whole thing and he says everything, etc. It's actually it's a coalition. It's a coalition of people coming together. And if they did not agree with what the president actually wanted, they would work against it, much like our civil service does. So the second yellow highlighted aspect, just above that, was the original latest version of the concept of the unified foreign policy was signed in March 2023. Lavrov says we are actively working to strengthen our positions on the international stage. And we have seen that. Lavrov is going across Asia, across Africa, to many different countries across the Middle East, and building up Russian connections and doing very well with it. We're actively working to strengthen our positions on the international stage and ensure security and the most favorable external conditions for development, guided by the strategic goals. We are building up ties with the countries of the global majority, the global south and the global east. In other words, most of the world is alongside them, not alongside the West, the current hegemon, which seems to be tottering at the moment. It's on the ropes. Redistributing our material and human resources accordingly, which also includes weaponry, and transferring them to those areas where they are most in demand in the new geopolitical conditions. The new geopolitical conditions, not under the current geopolitical conditions where we have a problem, but in the new ones where things are actually quite favorable. They're actively assisting in establishing the international ties of Crimea, the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics, and the Zaporozhye and Kherson regions. I am confident that today's meeting will enable us to specify all the areas of our practical work on the international stage. Then he passes it on to Vladimir Putin. So the first aspect of what Putin says, the very first sentence of note, I'm pleased to welcome all of you and express my gratitude for your active work in the interests of Russia and our people. Now, this is another interesting term. Russia's people are not just the people who live in Russia. Our people in this term is anyone that is Russian, wherever they may be, which links directly to the Donbass regions. It links directly to all ethnic Russians in the Baltic states, in Ukraine, across the world. They are, in Russia's terms, our people. So that covers all of the other smaller countries that surround Russia as well. Very important that Putin says that, but also very important we understand what he means. I think it's important to assess the current situation in global and regional affairs, as well as set the appropriate tasks for the foreign ministry. All these tasks are aimed at achieving our main goal. So here's the main strategic direction, the thing they're trying to achieve: creating conditions for Russia's sustainable development, ensuring its security at all times, and improving the well-being of Russian families. Link that back to the our people. Russian families is not just people inside Russia. It's ethnic Russians anywhere. Improve the well-being of them. Direct link to Donetsk, Lugansk, Kharkov, the people of Ukraine who see themselves as Russian. They're also going to set their own long-term agenda, not have it set by anybody else. Given today's challenging and unpredictable conditions, they will persevere in this. We, Russia, should propose possible solutions to fundamental issues that concern not only us, but the entire international community. Now, this next sentence is key. It is crucial to discuss them with our partners in an open and constructive manner. Russia has been very, very open and offered lots of aspects. Some people might have felt that those aspects, oh, they're unacceptable. You've got to remember, in a negotiation stage, everything's an opening gambit. And therefore, that's the top end, the very top end of what they're trying to achieve. And as you come together to discuss, you start to get together and come together, and everybody compromises. That's not happening at the moment. Every time Russia says something, they are hit with a big hand up into the face. Shut your fucking mouth. We're not talking to you. We're going to tell you what the fuck's going to happen, and you're going to actually deal with it in the way we want you to deal with it, which is exactly what's happening with the Swiss peace summit that's going on at the moment. I say it's going on at the moment. I've no idea how many people are still there. Joe Biden never bothered going. He sent Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris left after the first day. Went, right, thanks very much, I'm off. And she got on a plane and went back to Washington. So there's no one there from America. There's no one there representing it. The Colombian president was there at the beginning. He heard a load of the stuff that went on, and he went, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm going. Because this isn't a peace summit. This is not about peace. This is about continuation of war. So he's gone. He's gone, fuck you lot. You're a bunch of assholes. Which is essentially what Putin says in his speech on the 14th of June. But Russia accepts it's crucial to discuss these things in an open and constructive manner and come to a compromise and a way forward that everybody respects. Let me repeat, the world is changing rapidly. More countries are striving to strengthen their sovereignty, self-sufficiency, and national and cultural identity. The role of Africa and Latin America is growing. And what they don't want is the imposition of the West's bloody so-called liberal democracies, the West's way of doing things. They don't want that imposed on them. They don't want them to be bullied into it. And that's where the changes are going to come in. This new political and economic reality now serves as the foundation for the emerging. I can take this thing off my ears, actually. I don't need that for the moment. Where was I? This new political and economic reality now serves as the foundation for the emerging multipolar and multilateral world order. And this is an inevitable process. We have an emerging multipolar and multilateral world order. Putin is very clear about that. He sees massive changes going on. There is a new political and economic reality globally. It includes Russia. It doesn't necessarily at the moment include the West. Hillary says, Happy Russia Day to Nerdy. I thought Russia Day was some other day last week. I mean, today is actually Father's Day in the Great British Isles. I don't know whether Nerdy's a father or just a nerdy or a rat. But happy Father's Day. So, given that Putin sees that there is this new world order, it's coming, it's an inevitable process that reflects the cultural and civilizational diversity that is inherently part of humanity, despite all attempts at artificial unification. Another jibe at America, another jibe at the global West, the hegemon, the bunch of puppets that all fawn at the feet of Joe Biden, dementia-ridden idiot. But diversity. Nah, we all go on about DEI and DEI hires and whatever. The diversity that Putin is talking about is somewhat different here. His diversity is an acceptance. Hello, Elsie. His diversity is an acceptance of different cultures, different ways of looking at things. Different countries have different ways to do it, and they deliver their ways of doing things. They have their cultures, and it is incorrect for anybody else to impose their culture on somebody else. Hiya, Sandy. Did my offspring greet their father appropriately today? Well, I never remembered it was Father's Day. My youngest didn't know it was Father's Day, but my eldest rang me and said, Happy Father's Day. And I went, hey, what? Is that today? Is that the UK Father's Day? Or is it the American Father's Day? Or is it the Czech Father's Day? He says, I haven't got a clue. It just came up on his mobile phone. It said it's Father's Day. So I sent you something by Amazon. So he sent me some stuff, and I got some little things to drink and eat later on. Hello, Brojo. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. 1 out of 3 ain't bad, is it? He knew it was Father's Day. I didn't have a bloody clue. I'll tell you what I did see. There was somebody on Reddit had put a post on saying, "Oh I received a Father's Day present from my family. I opened it. It was a nice big bar of chocolate, and on the front it said, Empowering Women was the big title on this bar of chocolate. Father's Day, empowering women. Okay, this is the type of world that we're in. Everything to do with men has to be to do with women. It's not to do with men, it's to do with women. Men can't even have a day. It's like International Men's Day has always got to be about women and about International Women's Day and about being an ally to women instead of being about men and men's health. And it's like, fuck them. Anyway, Putin is talking about profound system-wide changes. And in his view, they certainly inspire optimism and hope, because the establishment of multipolarity and multilateralism in international affairs, says here, including respect for international law and broad representation. But a lot of people will go, you don't respect the law, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's from his perspective. He is respecting international law from his perspective and from Russia's perspective. And frankly, the rest of the world actually agrees with the perspective that Putin has on what is international law. So the establishment of multipolarity and multilateralism to resolve the most complex problems together for the common benefit and to build mutually beneficial relations and cooperation between sovereign states. Now, you'll note there's some green bits on here. The green bits are the most important things. This vision of the future aligns with the aspirations of the vast majority of countries. That's how I see it. The vast majority of countries are alongside Russia and China throughout the Middle East, throughout Africa, throughout Latin America, throughout South America. The vast majority of people, of countries, align with Russia and China, including India. Such a vision for the future aligns with the aspirations of the vast majority of countries, especially in growing interest in the work of a universal association such as BRICS, which is based on a culture of trust-based dialogue, sovereign equality of its members. You don't have a list of who's big, who's little, and respect for each other, and accepting each other in certain ways. Now, the really important bit. Under the Russian chairmanship this year, we will facilitate the smooth inclusion of new BRICS members in the association's working bodies. I don't know whether he's talking about the recent new BRICS members, and I will include Saudi Arabia in there. So Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, is it Colombia? I can't remember exactly who they all are. Is he talking about those, or is he already accepting that those are already in and they're going to bring in loads more? I don't know. But you're going to see later on that there's some clear implications here. Putin's asking the government and the foreign ministry to continue substantive work to make sure the BRICS summit in October in Russia will have a considerable set of agreed decisions that will determine the direction of our cooperation. And then he lists in the type of areas. Now, this set of areas is new. Politics and security. A political alignment within these countries? I don't know. A general way of doing politics in these countries? I don't know. An acceptance that politics is a methodology and therefore it's all about discussion and compromise and coming to decisions in a political manner using democracy or voting or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what he means. Is it a political union? I don't know. Security. Let's think about NATO. NATO is a security defensive organization. I sort of say defensive, but it's not. It's offensive. It's nasty. It's fucking disgusting. But it's a security organization. Are they developing a NATO-style security across BRICS countries? And if they expand the number of BRICS countries massively, what will that mean? Cooperation in economy and finance. That's already there. The finance stuff has particularly grown since mid-2022. They are starting to work together. But the economy stuff, I'm presuming that's to do with trade and helping each other and having good trade ties between each other. Science, so sharing scientific knowledge. Culture, sharing each other's culture, having their own culture cities. The BRICS City of Culture 2030. Sports. Russia has been kicked out of the Olympics and the Euros and many other things. Are they going to develop their own sporting organization? Humanitarian ties, which will be helping each other out, to help each other improve and extend and go beyond what each individual country might be able to do on their own. The potential of BRICS will allow it to become one of the core regulatory institutions of the multipolar world order. Regulatory institution. What are we talking about here? Are we talking replacing the World Bank, replacing the IMF, replacing the World Trade Organization, replacing the United Nations? These are all the sort of regulatory institutions that they may be thinking about. Happy 420, Brojo. Absolutely fascinating statement. It's one little sentence. There's no detail to it. But they're looking to totally change the way everything is done. Absolutely everything is done in the world. What it might mean is, yeah, the West, yeah, you G7 lot, you can have your little shitty fucking shit over there. And we will put up a curtain around the rest of you. The rest of us are going to do all of this other stuff. That's going to be fascinating. In this connection, international discussions are already underway regarding the parameters of interaction between states in a multipolar world, as opposed to a hegemonic single unipolar world, and the democratization of the entire system of international relations. A total change, a complete change to the way everything is done. This is going to happen within our lifetimes. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought I was going to be dead and long gone before this all happens. But he wants to implement this within his lifetime. And he's a good nearly 20 years older than me, so I'm hoping I'll still be around, and I want to see this. But we might all be dead by then, because the West will probably just send the nukes over. We are interested in fostering this dialogue within the United Nations, including on such a vital topic for all as the creation of an indivisible security system. In other words, global affairs must be based on the principle that the security of some cannot be ensured at the expense of the security of others. Another immediate jibe straight at the United States, straight at Europe. The West and the United States, your time is up, is what Putin is saying. How long it takes, he's aiming to actually deliver this himself. The principle at the United Nations, he is aiming at the United Nations as well. The United Nations has a target on its back, because if they don't do this, BRICS is going to produce its own regulatory institutions to get rid of the United Nations. It will produce the new United Nations. So he gives some context as to why we got to this place, to why we have to have this new direction. He says, at the end of the 20th century, there was a unique opportunity to build a reliable and just security order. It didn't require much, simply the ability to listen to the opinions of all interested parties and a mutual willingness to take those opinions into account. Russia was determined to engage in constructive work of that nature. However, a different approach prevailed. Now, this is the perspective of Russia in being derided, ignored, having a hand put up in their face from their point of view. Frankly, from the West point of view that I look at it, yes, that's exactly what we did to them. We said, you're weak, you were part of the Soviet Union, we won the Cold War, you're going to fucking suffer. The Western powers, led by the US, believed they had won the Cold War and had the right to determine how the world should be organized. The practical manifestation of this outlook was the project of unlimited expansion of the North Atlantic Bloc, NATO, in space and time, despite the existence of alternative ideas for ensuring security in Europe. The West responded to our justified questions with excuses, claiming there were no plans to attack Russia, the expansion of NATO right up to the border of Russia, and that the expansion of NATO was not directed against Russia, and yet NATO was produced precisely in order to counter Russia under the guise of the Soviet Union. But that's how the West saw the Soviet Union. It was Russia. They effectively forgot about the promises made to the Soviet Union and later Russia in the late 80s and early 90s that the bloc would not accept new members. Even when they did acknowledge these promises, they'd grin and dismiss them as mere verbal assurances that were not legally binding. In the 1990s and later, Russia suggested options and constructive solutions, emphasizing the need to develop a mechanism of European and global security that would be acceptable to all parties involved. He wants to underscore that point, except Russia was excluded from such developments, and everything that they wanted, the West went against it. All our repeated attempts met with no response. Western countries, confident not so much in the righteousness of their cause as in their power and ability to impose whatever they wish on the rest of the world, simply disregarded other perspectives. He's looking at it and he's going, you bullied us, we were weak, but we ain't fucking weak no more, is what he's saying. You ain't gonna do it to us no more. As Brojo says, your time is gonna come, and that time is now. He goes through into various examples of the things that the West did, like the tragedy in the Balkans, aspects to do with the domestic issues in Yugoslavia. At that time, the main principle of NATO diplomacy manifested itself most vividly. A deeply flawed principle that is of no use in addressing complex internal conflicts. In essence, this principle aims to assign blame to one party, often disliked by the West for various reasons, and unleash the full political, informational, and military might of the West, including economic sanctions and restrictions against it. We know this happened in Iraq, Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, now against Russia, against Belarus, and now against any company and any country that actually continues to deal with Russia, Belarus, or any other sanctioned countries. You've got China that is being bullied constantly and has always been because they're scared of China as well. No country in the world is immune from joining this tragic list, which creates hubs of humanitarian and social disasters, as well as terrorist enclaves. Two years ago at the NATO summit in Madrid, it was declared the alliance, as in NATO, would now deal with security issues not only in the Euro-Atlantic, but also the Asia-Pacific region. Clearly, this was an attempt to exert more pressure on those countries in the region whose development they have decided to restrain. Russia ranks high on this list. It was Washington that undermined strategic stability by unilaterally withdrawing from the treaties on anti-missile defense, on the elimination of intermediate and shorter-range missiles, and on open skies. Unprofessional. And together with its NATO satellites, dismantling the decades-old system of confidence-building measures and arms control in Europe. The last little bit in the context as to why we are at the position where we're at. Lastly, the self-centeredness and arrogance of Western countries have led us to a highly perilous situation today. We are inching dangerously close to a point of no return. Calls for a strategic defeat of Russia, which possesses the largest arsenals of nuclear weapons, demonstrate the extreme recklessness of Western politicians. They either fail to comprehend the magnitude of the threat they're creating, or they're simply consumed by their notion of invincibility and exceptionalism. I don't think that's an or, I think it's a both. I think both of these are absolutely true. It's evident the entire system of Euro-Atlantic security is crumbling. At present, it is practically non-existent and must be rebuilt. So there you go. That's Putin indicating exactly why there needs to be a new direction. And he has given his perspective on what that new direction is, what it's going to be. He's going to develop it alongside all countries that want to be involved in developing it. And if the United States and if the West, the EU, the UK, and other countries within the European family, if they do not want to go with them, they don't have to. The rest of the world will just leave them behind. To achieve this, we must collaborate with interested countries, of which there are many, to develop our own strategies for ensuring security in Eurasia and then present them for broader international deliberation. In other words, we're not just going to impose something on you. We'll have some proposals, we'll have some ideas, you'll have some proposals, you'll have some ideas, we'll bring them together, we will deliberate them. Politics equals determine a compromise that works for everybody, go forward. These are standard principles. The West cannot do them. The West is unaware how to do them. The West is only aware how to bully the rest of the world. And they've lost that position of power precisely because of Ukraine. I find that fascinating. The West has thrown itself onto the rocks. For what? No idea. Under no circumstances can somebody turn around and say Ukraine is a great paragon of virtue as a country. It has a great democracy. It is corruption-free. It is the exact type of nation we all aspire to be. No, absolutely, that is not what anybody aspires to be. This is the task set in the address to the Federal Assembly, to outline a vision for equal and indivisible security, mutually beneficial and equitable cooperation, and development of the Eurasian continent in the foreseeable future. So Russia is pushing itself out. It's going to be pushing itself out even more on the international stage. It won't talk really to the European countries or to the United States. It will merely respond to them when it needs to. It's going to focus on everywhere else: South America, Central America, Africa, the Middle East, the Far East. Putin continues, how should this vision be achieved? Let me just check. Yes. He goes through, I think it's 5 different elements. Establish dialogue with all potential participants. And he highlights during his recent visit to China that the Chinese noted that the Russian proposal is not contradictory, but rather complements and aligns with the basic principles of the Chinese Global Security Initiative. So you've got Russia and China standing together. I think we'll find it aligns with India's global security principles. It'll align with a lot of Africa. They're just going to take over. Second, the future security architecture should be open to all Eurasian countries that wish to participate in its creation. All includes European and NATO countries as well. They're not going to be completely closed. They're not going to go, no, you're the wankers from the other time, piss off. It's open to them. But you've got to come with a change of culture and a change of ideas and a change of principles and an acceptance and a respect for others. Putin says we share the same continent and must live and work together regardless of the circumstances. Geography can't be changed. The anti-Russia propaganda campaign involving senior European politicians is accompanied by speculation that Russia intends to attack Europe. I have addressed this issue before, and there's no need to repeat it again here. We all understand these claims are baseless and serve only to justify an arms race. Absolutely true. In this context, he digresses a bit. The threat to Europe does not come from Russia. This is a key point. The main threat to Europeans is their critical and increasing dependence on the United States of America in military, political, technological, ideological, and informational aspects. Europe is being marginalized in global economic development, plunged into the chaos of challenges such as migration and losing international agency and cultural identity. We are vassals of the United States, and we seem to want to be vassals of the United States. We don't want to stand on our own 2 feet. We don't want to think independently. We just want to be told what to do. Maybe we should rename the United States of America to the God of America, the Jesus Christ of America, because that's how the West seems to view America. Then he goes on about how European politicians have tolerated humiliation, rudeness, and scandals such as surveillance of European leaders, while the United States simply exploits them for its own benefit. And he gives some other examples. If Europe wants to continue being an independent centre of global development and a cultural and civilizational pole on our planet, it should definitely maintain good and friendly relations with Russia. Most importantly, we are ready for this. Now, I wasn't expecting that. My view has always been, right, that's it. Russia and Putin, they have turned their backs on the West, all of the West. The West can fuck off in his terms. They're going to go the other way. He's basically saying, no, we're still open. I don't know how long that door will be open or how long it will take to develop a trust between them, because we in the West, our leaders, have lied constantly, many times, to Russia in order that we pretend we're going to do something and then we fuck them over. So I don't know, but he's leaving that door open. Indeed, politicians of truly European and global scale, so he's now talking about how pathetic our leaders currently are. Those politicians of truly global scale, who are patriots of their countries and nations, understand this simple, obvious fact. He gives examples of Charles de Gaulle and Chancellor Helmut Kohl, who both emphasized the importance of partnership between Europe and Russia. I hope new generations of European politicians will eventually restore this legacy. He has no confidence in the current set of Western European politicians. They are all puppets. Speaking of the United States, the never-ending attempts by the current globalist, liberal elites to spread their ideology worldwide to maintain their imperial status and dominance in one way or another are only further exhausting the country, leading to its degradation and clearly contrary to the genuine interests of the American people. If it were not for this dead-end policy, I thought he was going to say president then, driven by aggressive messianism based on the belief in their own superiority and exceptionalism, international relations would have long been stabilized. This is exceptionally strong language. This is the type of language that I expect Dmitry Medvedev to come out with on his Telegram channel. But no, this is the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, saying this direct to his own foreign ministry, giving them directions. That direction is America is a piece of shit. That's the direction that Russia is giving to their own staff. How to do their foreign relations, their international relations. Don't you, under any circumstances, accept the word of America. They cannot be trusted. That's a key point. Third, we need to significantly intensify the dialogue process between multilateral organizations already operating in Eurasia. Those are the Union State, as examples, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, the Eurasian Economic Union, the CIS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We consider it possible that other influential Eurasian associations from Southeast Asia to the Middle East will join these processes. Fourth, the time has come to start a broad discussion of a new system of bilateral and multilateral guarantees of collective security, the equivalent of NATO. They're going to develop, they might even use the very same wording that NATO has got. They might just print it out, scrub out the names of whatever, put in their own names, and sign it. They'll have their own Article 5. Syria will say, if any country wishes to attack us, then everybody else must come to our aid. And that will be the same for every other country within it, including Iran, including the whole of the BRICS. What's going to happen when that includes Mexico? I don't know. But it could get fucking interesting. At the same time, it is necessary in the long term to gradually phase out the military presence of external powers in the Eurasian region. Okay, all those all those military bases that surround China to be phased out. All those military bases that are in Africa to be phased out. All external powers. So that's going to be America, Australia, Europe, UK. Phase out military presence of external powers in the Eurasian region. And the Eurasian region is going to come together to get rid of these military presences. They're going to say, we're not interested in you anymore, America. The Middle East, we're not interested in you anymore, America. And we've got all these countries behind us. Get out. Get out now before we come in to make sure you get out. Of course, we are aware that in the current situation, this point may seem unrealistic, but that will change. If we build a reliable security system in the future, there will simply be no need for such a presence of out-of-region military contingents. To be honest, there's no need today either. It's just occupation. Very clear perspective from Putin. Unless you actually asked for those bases to be there, get the fuck out. In the final analysis, we believe that countries and regional structures in Eurasia should themselves identify specific areas of cooperation in joint security. Guided by this, they must also build a system of working institutions, mechanisms, and agreements that would really serve to achieve common stability and development goals. This is a replacement of organizations mentioned before, like the IMF, the World Bank, the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, maybe the World Health Organization, all the others, NATO, kick it out. And if you link it into sports as well, the Olympic stuff, kick it all out, we'll develop our own, we'll have our own. A charter of multipolarity and diversity in the 21st century, a strategic vision of the nature of multipolarity in a broader sense, and multilateralism as a new system of international relations, which would replace the Western-centric world. This is their direction, this is their plan, this is their strategy, this is what they're aiming for. We need as broad representation as possible and a consideration of different approaches and positions. And the last point, a crucial part of the Eurasian security and development system should definitely be the issues of the economy, social well-being, integration, and mutually beneficial cooperation, as well as addressing such common problems as overcoming poverty, inequality, the climate, the environment, and developing mechanisms to respond to the threats of pandemics and crises in the global economy. Any of that last stuff is no different from the same type of thing that any politician says. And in fact, it's no different from any Miss World contestant, really. As for the other stuff, Russia and Putin are giving a very clear indication of exactly how this world is going to look soon. And I don't think the Western countries are going to be involved until they're begging and poor. And I don't think that's going to be too far away. That is the end of part one. It depends on the feedback on this one as to whether I do a part two, which covers what did the West, particularly the USA, do to lead us to this situation, and especially to do with Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Ukraine, all of those sorts of things. So I'm going to bid you farewell, and I will see you again soon.
Got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay, cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency, a message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy, hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe, I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet
Cause I
next
don't
to
give
me.
a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I shot my wife in the stomach with 38.
Why did you do this?
She enticed me and she ridiculed me throughout my lifetime. I'll see if she's alive. She's alive? She's dead. I think she's dead.
Sensational.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Say goodbye.